Welcome to Tallinn. Tallinn, Estonia. It can be a city that's difficult to understand. It is dynamic yet peaceful. It is traditional yet modern. It has an old town and a new town. It is at the heart and center of the digital age, and yet it feels like you're stepping back into history. Come with me as we explore this great Baltic city. Tallinn is situated on the southern coast of the Gulf of Finland of the Baltic Sea, and it has a population of about 434,000 people, but it gets 4.3 million visitors annually. Of these, around 500,000 come from cruise ships, and that's where we came. We arrived at the port of Tallinn and then boarded a bus to take our tour of the city. Tallinn has warm, mild summers and cold, snowy winters. And on the beautiful June day that we were there, the weather couldn't have been any better. Tallinn's main visitor attractions are located in the Old Town area, and these are all very accessible by foot. The Old Town is divided into an upper and lower section, with the upper section well fortified and surrounded by a great wall. And that is where we started our tour. This area is also known as Toompea. One of the main attractions here is the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. This is an Orthodox cathedral, and it was built during the period when the country was a part of the Russian Empire. After we left the cathedral, we continued to wander around the upper Old Town portion of Tallinn. It is a beautiful place, and every street is filled with color and just seems to draw you in. Tallinn's Old Town is one of the best preserved medieval cities in Europe, and it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and every place is beautiful to stop and take pictures along the way. Again, this upper part of the town is well fortified with many thick and tall walls, and there are many artillery towers as well. As noon approached, we were getting a little hungry, and so we decided to start looking at some restaurants in the city. This is the window of Tallinn's oldest cafe, and here's some more pictures of some restaurants that we saw along the way. As you can see, this restaurant was pretty proud of their steaks. They're probably the best, but we decided to eat at the beer house. The kids weren't too sure about the food that they were given to eat, but their chicken wings looked pretty good. We then ventured to the top of Toompea Hill to look at the beautiful view over the city. This view was a postcard maker's dream, and it was well worth the hike to the top. You could see our cruise ship off in the distance. This vantage point, you can see how Tallinn's Old Town just spills into the new modern part of the city. All the buildings below us are in the lower town of Old Town Tallinn. And the church in the background, right there, is St. Olaf's Church. And it was the tallest building in the world from 1549 until 1625. After finishing taking in the views from Upper Town, we decided to venture down the stairs that were in the walls of the city and head to the Lower Town. Again, the streets of Lower Town were beautiful, but at the heart of Lower Town is Town Hall Square. It was a beautiful square in the middle of the city, and it was just full of activity. There were a lot of merchants and vendors in this square, but we found it was a great place to take some pictures of the people in our group. We continued our tour around the city, and around every corner and along every street there was something beautiful to see. I was amazed by the beautiful flowers that just filled flower boxes along the street. They seemed to be everywhere. Here is a little trolley that we kept seeing around the city. And this is St. Nicholas Orthodox Church. And this is the view looking back toward the Upper Town.
Anything to the camera?
Just that this place is pretty cool.
It is, it's pretty cool. Scale that wall, Clint.
We decided to check out one of Tallinn's many museums and look at the grounds that surrounded it. The museum grounds were again very beautiful, and there were just flowers everywhere. And around the museum were bronze statues of a faceless monk. Rumor says that the monk's name was probably Justinius, and he was a novice set on becoming a monk, but was killed in 1233 before he could repent of his sins as an executioner's apprentice. One thing we quickly learned about Tallinn and Europe in general is there are not many public restrooms, so when we did find one, we had someone stand guard while the rest of us sit around waiting for our turn to use it. Estonia is often referred to as the singing nation. And in fact, from 1987 to 1991, hundreds of thousands of Estonians gathered to sing patriotic songs that were previously forbidden to be sung when Russia ruled. It was the singing revolution. Here are some pictures of more of the beautiful flowers that we saw while we were touring Tallinn. And here's a picture of my mom, and then just more pictures of our group. And then it was back to the town hall square. It has been a marketplace and the center of this old town since the Middle Ages. It became the center of the lower town at the turn of the 13th and 14th centuries. Today, it plays an important role as well. In the summer, when we were there, it is filled with outdoor cafes, plays, other medieval festivals. It is an open-air concert venue, and more. In winter, it becomes a magical Christmas market, and the centerpiece is a towering spruce tree. Christmas festivals here date back to 1441. Old Town rewards the eagle-eyed traveler, and one of the things that you can see perched upon the top of a building is the Old Town Pervert. Legend states that the house upon which this old man now sits was once the home of a merchant and his beautiful young wife. This old man who lived across the street would often stare at this young lady as she was changing clothes, and so she became very frustrated and told her husband. Her husband, who was not a violent man, did not want to confront this old gentleman, so instead hired a skillful sculptor to sculpt a picture of the man, so every time he would stare at her, he would see himself as well. There were numerous other fascinating things to see along the streets of Tallinn. But eventually it was time to leave Old Town and get back on our bus and quickly visit the newer, modern area of the city. Tallinn has the highest number of startups per person of any city in Europe, and it is the birthplace to many high-tech companies, including Skype and TransferWise. The city is home to the headquarters of the European Union's IT agency, and it is the home to the NATO Cyber Defense Center of Excellence. It is ranked among the top 10 digital cities in the world. Despite its impressive and long history, Tallinn is a modern and dynamic metropolitan city. This is the Tallinn Song Festival grounds. It is the home to the Estonia Song Festival, and it is one of the largest chorus events in the world, and it is held every 5 years in July. Tallinn, it was great visiting you. You did not disappoint. Hopefully, we will return again sometime.